Hello, little ones. Welcome to Humblebee Tales. This is the mystery of the missing pies. Long, long ago, in a cozy village called Willowbrook, there lived a clever girl named Clementine Bramblewood. She had curly red hair, bright green eyes, and a mind sharper than her grandmother's knitting needles. Everyone in the village knew that if something puzzling happened, Clementine could solve it faster than you could say strawberry jam. Clementine lived with her kind grandfather, Jasper Bramblewood, who ran the village's only bakery. Their little shop smelled of fresh bread and cinnamon rolls every morning, and people came from neighboring villages just to taste Jasper's famous apple pies. One crisp autumn morning, something very strange happened. Mrs. Ophelia Kettleworth, who owned the village inn, came rushing into the bakery with tears in her eyes. "Oh, Jasper! Oh, Clementine!" she cried, wringing her hands. "Something terrible has happened. All 12 of my prize-winning blueberry pies have vanished from my kitchen windowsill." Clementine's eyes sparkled with curiosity. She had been reading her favorite detective stories, and this sounded like a real mystery. "Tell us everything, Mrs. Kettleworth," she said, pulling out a small notebook she always carried. "Well," sniffled Mrs. Kettleworth, "I baked them yesterday evening for the Harvest Festival contest. They were cooling on the windowsill, and this morning, poof, gone. Not a crumb left behind." Grandfather Jasper stroked his grey beard thoughtfully. "That is peculiar indeed. Who could have taken 12 whole pies?" "That's what we're going to find out," declared Clementine, adjusting her little blue bonnet. "Mrs. Kettleworth, may we examine the scene?" The 3 of them hurried to the Willowbrook Inn. Clementine examined the kitchen windowsill, and she noticed something interesting. Tiny purple stains on the wooden sill. Sure enough, little purple drops led from the windowsill, across the kitchen floor, and out the back door. Clementine followed the trail like a bloodhound, with Mrs. Kettleworth and Grandfather Jasper close behind. The purple trail led through Mrs. Kettleworth's vegetable garden, past the old oak tree, and toward the edge of the village where young Barnaby Thistlebottom lived with his family. Barnaby was known for having the biggest appetite in all of Willowbrook. "Oh my," gasped Mrs. Kettleworth. "Surely young Barnaby wouldn't." But Clementine held up her hand. "A good detective never jumps to conclusions," she said wisely. "Let's follow the evidence." The trail continued past Barnaby's house and into the woods. As they walked deeper among the tall pine trees, they heard strange sounds, rustling, grunting, and what sounded like satisfied munching. "This way," whispered Clementine, creeping forward quietly. They pushed through a cluster of berry bushes and discovered the most surprising sight. There, in a small clearing, sat the biggest, fluffiest bear any of them had ever seen. And scattered around him were the empty tin plates that had held Mrs. Kettleworth's pies. The bear looked up at them with purple-stained whiskers and the most guilty expression a bear could possibly have. His round belly was noticeably larger than usual. "Well, I'll be," chuckled Grandfather Jasper. "Our pie thief is Bruno." Everyone in Willowbrook knew Bruno. He was the gentlest bear in the forest, who sometimes wandered into the village looking for treats. The children often shared their lunch scraps with him, and he had never caused any trouble before. Mrs. Kettleworth's anger melted away when she saw Bruno's sheepish expression. "Oh, you silly bear, you must have smelled my blueberry pies and couldn't resist." Bruno let out a small, apologetic woof and hung his big head in shame. Clementine patted Bruno's massive paw. "I think Bruno is very sorry, Mrs. Kettleworth. Look, he even kept your pie plates nice and clean." Indeed, Bruno had licked every plate spotless. Mrs. Kettleworth smiled and shook her head. "Well, I suppose I can't stay angry at such a polite pie thief. But Bruno, next time you want some pie, Just knock on my door like a proper gentleman." Bruno nodded vigorously, as if he understood every word. They returned home. "But what about the Harvest Festival contest?" asked Grandfather Jasper. "It's this afternoon." Clementine's face lit up with an idea. "Mrs. Kettleworth, do you have enough ingredients to make more pies?" "Why, yes, but not enough time to bake 12 pies before the contest." "Then we'll all help," declared Clementine. "The whole village can help. It will be the greatest pie-baking adventure Willowbrook has ever seen." And so, word spread quickly through the village. Barnaby Thistlebottom brought his family's extra flour. The Miller family donated berries from their patch. Old Mrs. Cornelius Applebottom shared her secret spice blend. Even little Tabitha Moonwhisper, who was only 6 years old, helped by carefully arranging blueberries on each pie. The entire village gathered in Mrs. Kettleworth's kitchen, laughing and working together. Grandfather Jasper supervised the baking, while Clementine organized everyone, like a general commanding her troops. By afternoon, they had baked not 12, but 20 beautiful blueberry pies, and Bruno, who had been watching hopefully from the garden, was rewarded with his very own small pie for being such a good sport about the whole adventure. At the Harvest Festival contest, Mrs. Kettleworth's pies won first prize just as they had every year before. But this time, the victory was extra sweet because the whole village had worked together to make it happen. Grandfather admired little Clementine. She had solved her first real mystery, made friends with a bear, and brought her whole village together. "What are you writing, little detective?" asked Grandfather Jasper, settling into his rocking chair with a cup of tea. Clementine looked up with a satisfied smile. "I'm writing that the best mysteries aren't just about finding out who did something wrong. Sometimes they're about bringing everyone together to make something right." And from that day forward, whenever anyone in Willowbrook had a mystery to solve, they knew exactly who to call. Detective Clementine Bramblewood, the best young detective in all the countryside. Mrs. Kettleworth made sure to always bake an extra pie for Bruno, just in case he came visiting again. After all, every village needs a friendly bear, even if he does have a weakness for blueberry pie.